Hi, everyone. I'd just like to welcome you to FinTalks. Whether you join us in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, I'm really pleased and thrilled to have you all with us today. I know people are still coming in, so I'm just going to go slowly and basically introduce myself and talk a little bit about FinTech Consortium and Bahrain FinTech Bay. If you don't already know about us, we are basically a FinTech ecosystem builder, and we're based here in Bahrain, and we collaborate with various market players, which include government bodies, financial institutions, corporates, investors and innovators, basically all those who bring added value to the financial industry. Our key areas are basically FinTech advisory. We do corporate acceleration, incubation. We have published numerous research and thought leadership pieces and trends in FinTech. We provide venture acceleration, and we create awareness through our events. And today is one of these events. I know some of you have joined our FinTalks before, but we're very excited to have another edition where we are going to introduce you right now to some of our speakers. And they're going to basically engage in about a 45-minute live session, an interview. And then after that interview, we're going to open up to questions and answers, and we'll answer it from the audience. Please feel free to submit your questions. And there's a Q&A box. If you look at the bottom hand of your screen in the black section, you'll find a Q&A tab. If you can just submit there so we can find them rather than in the chat. And then we'll get to them at the end. If we don't get to them, please email us on info@bahrainfintechbay.com. And if we don't get to it now, we will get to it then, and I can get the answers for you later. First of all, to introduce myself, and I guess, gentlemen, you can switch on your screens. My name is Susie Alzira, and I am the head of communications and events for Bahrain FinTech Bay. And today's topic is building ecosystems in the insurance sector, how to leverage a health operating system. And in this webinar, we're going to discuss the CareVoice's experience in pushing the boundaries of health insurance in Asia. As we all know, health insurance is a key topic, not only in the world, but in the GCC, and all health systems are currently undergoing massive transformation. And in this webinar, basically today, we're going to gain a different perspective about health ecosystems, and how digital companies can drive the development of the insurance sector. I'm very, very pleased to welcome with me today a good friend and also one of our founding partners from Roland Berger. We have Andreas Vuelo, who is a partner at Roland Berger Middle East. And prior to joining Roland Berger, he worked at Allianz Group in various positions across the global CFO function, including Bahrain. He also pursued entrepreneurial activities connecting technology SMEs from Europe with partners and investors from the GCC. At Roland Berger here in the Middle East, Andreas covers financial services and especially insurance, and also heads the office in Bahrain. He's also involved in transformation projects for public and private sector clients, and is continuously building relationships with key government and private sector entities, and with a particular focus on supporting entrepreneurial services such as us in Bahrain FinTech Bay. Welcome, Andreas. Glad to have you with us again.
Thanks, Susie.
And as well, I'm very thrilled to have with us Sebastian Godin, who is co-founder and CEO of the CareVoice. Sebastian's career has been dedicated to healthcare and an academic background in pharmaceuticals and business. He's worked as corporate development, marketing, and business leader on multiple therapeutic and geographic markets at Sanofi. Working with the Chinese Ministry of Health representatives and hospital leaders, Sebastian soon noticed how wary Chinese patients were of their national healthcare system, and started the CareVoice in 2014. He was witnessing private medical sector taking off and insurance growing interest to become health partners of their members. So he pivoted the company business in 2016 to aim to make health insurance more human. CareVoice is now recognized as one of the leading Asian health insurtechs. Hi, Sebastian, welcome. It's lovely to have you with us. Can you hear us? Yeah, I think you've got mute. You're on mute.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, Sebastian. Well, I think, Andreas, I'm going to let you lead into the interview basically with Sebastian, and I'm here to help with any questions or anything on the way. So please go ahead, Andreas.
Thank you very much, Susie. It's always been a big pleasure to be here. Hello to everyone who's joining us from near, from far. Big welcome to Sebastian. It's great to have you. Thanks for your time. I look forward to having a little bit of a discussion with you around healthcare ecosystems. As Susie has said, this is a topic that is on top of the agenda here in the Middle East. We very often look to Asia and specifically China about how things are done there, because it just appears to be the case that China is very often at the cusp and the cutting edge of how some things are done. So we're very, very excited to get a first-hand voice from that part of the world. and to dive a little bit into the topics. And I think Susie has done a great introduction, Sébastien, but let's maybe start out with a little bit of background to the CareVoice, to yourself, and specifically the kind of problem that you've set out to solve with the CareVoice, just so that we have a little bit of a context of who we're talking to.
Okay. Yes, thanks, Andreas. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. Happy to share about what's happening in this part of the world, but at the same time to learn through the conversation and questions and answers we may go through later on. So yeah, we heard already a big kind of bio about myself, but I would summarize around 20 years of healthcare, 10 plus years in pharma, different markets, North America, Europe, and China. And when I landed in China 10 years ago, I had the chance to be exposed to the whole healthcare value chain. I was leading diabetes for Sanofi, which is one of the major health issues in China, and also across markets for Sanofi. So it gave me, exposure working with the government, with hospital leaders, launching mobile solution for diabetes patients, exploring back then private hospitals or private insurance for diabetes, but it was really the beginning of private healthcare in China. But actually, it has really tremendously changed over the past 5 years. Privatization of healthcare, I think, it's been one of the dimensions of with the adoption of digital health. And I decided to start my company here, right? So I think the trigger was this issue around trust that you mentioned, that I observe about consumers for healthcare services. But we started with a very different model than what we were doing now. We started as a more consumer app, a kind of trip advisor for healthcare. But from there, we use this initial ability to help people with their healthcare experience and navigate people to the right medical providers with more confidence to bring this into an insurance setting. And the starting point was really the gap of customer engagement that insurers have. In general, insurers are very far from their customers. And we were observing that there were an appetite for the insurers to move away from being a passive payer of medical bill and proactively help their insurance member with health services. So the first set has been around a mobile solution for insurance to help them connect with their customers and help them to navigate to the right care. And from there, we gradually uncovered additional needs and way to help insurers. So the second pain point we've been helping insurers is around the lack of product differentiation. Right? Most of the insurance products are similar and not very considering the individual needs. And then we figure out that there were a wealth of potential new distribution channel for insurance, gathering existing potential customers that have appetite for health insurance, but insurers were not equipped to tap into this. And the last pain point, and not the least, obviously, is around digital capability of insurers, but more importantly, the ability to connect with an ecosystem that is critical to create value for insurance members, but also for the different stakeholders. So it's like this that we came out gradually to build the core technology platform that is what we're offering to insurance companies, CareVoice OS, the first healthcare operating system for insurers. And with CareVoice OS, we bring as a service a connected health ecosystem for insurance company. And that allows them to create innovative insurance product for specific population with the relevant services. And so far, we've been lucky to get over 20 insurance company adopting our services in mainland and in Hong Kong. And now we are already expanding in Southeast Asia and Europe, where we are first strategic deal. So yeah, very glad of helping the industry to transform.
That's really, really great. And look, there's so many things that we can touch upon. You mentioned diabetes. Diabetes is a huge problem here in the Middle East as well. And I'm sure that some of the public health authorities would be glad to learn that China has similar challenges as well. And I'm intrigued by your point around a healthcare operating system, and I guess it's in the title of the discussion today as well. But before we dive a little deeper into that, let's maybe unpack that whole topic real quick, so that we get everyone on the same page. Ecosystems and platforms and all that is all the it's all the rage today. And if you want to sell consulting projects, you have to sprinkle platform and ecosystem somewhere into the pitch. But let's unpack that a little bit, and let's move aside all the verbiage and stuff, and help us all understand a little bit specifically what do you mean when you say a health operating system, and what that is and how that is different to the notion of a platform or an ecosystem, or how it integrates those two. I think that would be helpful just as a starting point for everyone to get the basic right.
Okay. So I would say, let's just start by, what is brick and mortar, or what is our, daily normal work, right? And actually a health ecosystem does exist, is available everywhere, right? You have multiple stakeholders that are playing a role. You have multiple services and products that are helping people to stay healthy and or address their problems. And actually this ecosystem today exists with some or limited technology, but more importantly, with quite limited interactions and interconnections between the stakeholders and the service, right? That's the reality. You see a doctor, he may know very little about you or your insurance until you are in front of him or her. He may prescribe a medication to you. You're going to take this paper. Maybe later on, you have to show it to a pharmacist or scan it to trigger your delivery. And this is totally happening in silos without interaction point. Right? So that's a health ecosystem. Then when we refer to our core product around an operating system, is where we bring or where we see that there is a technology layer that come into play that bring this connectivity, that bring intelligence, and that should translate into an improved customer experience. That should translate into efficiency. So, for instance, you start to have a health concierge that understand your symptoms, that help you to self-diagnose, that help you to guide you to the course of actions, potentially referring to staying at home and triggering OTC medication delivered to your door, or triggering an online consultation with a service that is attached to your insurance where you are covered, and then the medication can also be accordingly attached to you. And the provider or the doctor that see you online has already information about you and already some background that you have authorized him to access to. So this operating system that connect the different stakeholders, that connect different products and services that are needed to keep you healthy or address your health problem, is really this technology that connect and make it happen.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Then I'll spare you the question whether you want to be the Windows or the iOS of the health system, because I think that is perhaps a bit too much of a loaded question. But so that's very helpful, and I guess you're going to the core of the issue of what healthcare is all about. It's all those stakeholders that have various bits and pieces of information, but no one really consolidates it, or in Europe, you don't provide the technology to, as a patient, be able to consolidate, because you don't want a centralized entity consolidated. So I understand it provides flexibility to the various players in the system to interact with each other. But and you've alluded to that as well. We have a health ecosystem already, which is brick and mortar and telephone lines and fax machines and maybe even snail mail still. So moving all of these stakeholders into this new world of an operating system, that must be quite hard and quite difficult a journey. So I'm wondering whether you can share a little bit of perspective on what were the pain points that you found to be good starting points to solve for different stakeholders using that operating system thought, or whether you built that operating system bit by bit by solving individual pain points and then connecting those solutions.
Becoming the Windows or the OS for healthcare globally would be a big statement. No, I think we first definitely focus in the health insurance space, right? So it's becoming the EOS for the insurers to operate their health insurance product. So that's very where we are focusing, and And even though this is already very big, right? So it's as you say, it has to go step by step. It's interesting to look at it, and it's where we started from customer experience, and what were the pain point from customer in the health insurance space where we could gradually help them. So I would say that there are obviously multiple issues that insurance companies are facing around their customer experience, and they have been started to accelerate their transformation, putting customer at the center, trying to really do things differently and improve. I would say the first thing was just basic expectation. When you buy an insurance, you want just your medical insurance be covered, right? This is the DNA of an insurer. You need to help me with that, and that sometimes is not that easy, right? Your direct billing, your claim reimbursement. There are still some issues happening just on that front because the insurers come usually late in the process, right? They came once the care has been consumed, when the claim is already filled. And so that can already create some frictions and in terms of customer experience and some pain point. But there is no customer centricity here, right? It's not because you pay my medical bill, this is the minimum I would expect from you. So actually, if we really see beyond that, I would say insurers have started to think about, okay, can we help prevention of health issues for our customers? When they have problems, can we help them to access online consultation? But usually those services, if they are, which is not yet the case for many insurers, but if they are delivered in silos. There is no integrated journey. So there is a low utilization, there is a low value and low impact, ultimately. So that has been the first area of gaps of patient experience, connecting those different services. Two, I think the insurance product that are coming to the market, actually they are all similar, and they are not looking at you as an individual, for sure, but even you as a group of individuals with similar needs. It's really one size fits all. The different products are most of the time different coverage for different price points, but it doesn't address you if you are a sports enthusiast, or if you are a single woman investing in your own health, or if you are a family with a young kid, or even if you are a staff in the startups where everybody is really a digital nomad people, or large corporates. So in this case, the population have very different medical risk, very different lifestyle, very different appetite in terms of health services. So that's the second area where we started to say, okay, how can we help insurers to consider this better? And the third issue is, I think, more from a customer standpoint, and that reflects in experience, is the cost of the product, because people realize that insurance is costly, it keeps increasing, and they are willing to play an active role in their health. But how much this is connected with their insurance, and how much that translates into additional or better coverage or lower costs. So I would say at CareVoice, we've been really working together with insurers to design brand new health insurance categories around specific population, and looking at this population and where are their needs, what are the type of services that they may engage with in terms of prevention or treatment, how it can impact reduction of their risk, and potentially really changing, supporting that change of behavior. And this has been working pretty well. So it's really a use case of our technology platform to show to insurers and work with insurers about how to transform customer experience around delivering more value. And we've seen really great traction in terms of sales. We have now designed already and partnered nearly 10 new health product categories. We are beating metrics of insurers in terms of customer onboarding, like 50% of customer on board on the mobile solution, satisfaction and retention. We are driving 45% increased retention of the product if they are serviced or not. And on brand new product, we have nearly 90+% of renewal at 1 year. So it's really high retention rate. And the loss ratio also is impact, because you can, first you attract customers who are willing to adopt a new way of consuming care, but also who you can support them to indeed be more cost effective in the way they consume care. So the loss ratio is also improved.
That's very interesting, because it's all encompassing, and it plays towards that tune of on the one hand side connectivity, but also getting greater engagement going with ultimately the beneficiary, because as you rightfully pointed out, it all starts with the beneficiary. The healthier the beneficiary is, the better the ecosystem is overall, because of capacity needs and so on and so on. So a lot of costs from an ecosystem perspective depend on how healthy ultimately people are, and changing behavior, we all know that is not an easy feat. So if you like sweets and if you like greasy food, it's very difficult to change from that. But so it's interesting to see how you guys are tackling this. And as you were talking about product differentiation and use cases, I was wondering, is there a favorite product that you guys have developed where you thought, oh wow, this is something really, really innovative or out of the box, or even weird?
So at first, I would say I would refer more to functions or services to engage customers, and we've been creating services around cure, so is to around the treatment of people, and care around prevention. And actually, we started by the cure because it's where an insurance is very legit to step in and help people when they face symptoms and support their members. And we also then gradually expand into the care side, where obviously you can create more frequent engagement and also more personalized based on the people on the people that you serve, right? And all these services that we've been bringing, obviously we are not developing everything ourselves. We are using third party as an OS. We are integrating third party in the, and I mentioned this ecosystem. But what is, you know, what is adopted a lot is around like this healthcare navigation, right? You do symptom checker, triage, navigating to the right hospital, doctor, easing the appointment. These are kind of, you know, after the claim that you need at minimum to service properly, you can start to be there relevant with your customers. But then some insurers are really keen to create early or more frequent engagement and step more in prevention. So everything around, you know, activity, cardio tracker, body measurements. Especially in China, there have been lots of adoption of people in the past three years have been very crazy about taking active steps to be healthy, and because people don't want to end up ill, right? So there have been lots of initiative in this field. Now you see a gym center or yoga center at every corner, you know, in Beijing, Shanghai, and any key cities. So I think this is an area where we have also a number of valuable services, and can address different type of profile of customers. But then for the new product that we launched, I think it's too early to say because we don't have enough. But we've been really seeing a good sign up from insurance company to work with us on developing this product and bringing this product to the market. But we have only 2 of the first 8 products that are commercialized, that are launched. So there are others are in the launching phase. So we've secured channels and specific distribution way. But it's too early to say out of the 8 or 10, you know, which one are going to be the most successful for the different segment of customers. And it's really then ongoing work to iterate on those new insurance products to make them growing well and addressing the need of their targeted customers.
Excellent. And now, we're talking about CareVoice, and you've said you know, China and Hong Kong is where you're primarily active and where you've grown from. Now we've all gone through, obviously that's the elephant in the room, we've all gone through a global pandemic, right? That has had a huge impact on digitization. It has of course had a huge impact on individual lives and the way we do business with each other, the way we can see each other, the way we can travel. I understand China probably has the worst behind it, but it'd be interesting also to understand a little bit what your perspective is, how this has accelerated or changed or pivoted your view on the value of these platforms, and also on the way that, let's say, health insurance is distributed, right? It used to be a very traditional distribution, usually offline channels or agents or in group settings as group policies. So I'm wondering a little bit moving forward, what do you expect from this sort of significant acceleration in digitization across all walks of life, which makes people naturally more inclined to use, let's say, digital means and digital ways of interacting and engaging. I'd be interested in taking your perspective on what you expect going forward.
So I think you're touching on two things. There are the fundamental drivers of change in insurance. And I think the concept of platforms and ecosystems, connected ecosystem, why it's going to pick up and continue to accelerate. And then there is COVID on top of this, right? So I think COVID is more, the context has been more a catalyzer of this transformation, both in terms of adoption and we've all seen this, right? Online consultation with doctors and so any services that can be done avoiding to go to see a doctor offline is obviously, or to go into a crowded place is valuable. But I think the other big dimension of COVID is more the distribution, and we can also further discuss about this because this has definitely impacted any insurer that were relying too much on offline broker or agents. Have been also in a difficult situation, while the others who have been already adopting more digital distribution and new way of distributing are taking a serious advantage. But it's more, again, a catalyzer of the change. So if I stay more on the platform aspect or connected ecosystem, I think across industries there are major trends for any businesses to adopt platforms because or to see platforms taking a more active role in their respective industries, because actually product and services now come to the customers where they are. And if you are having an existing business, you want to integrate further in the value chain and add other customer and services that are relevant to your customers, because it's a matter of customer experience, it's a matter of retention, of lifetime value, right? So that applies the same in insurance, and I would say even more in health insurance, because again, those multiple stakeholders, those multiple services are highly present. But we see solid drivers, right? The insurers are eager to create customer engagement. They are eager to change how they are perceived by customers to really drive satisfaction, drive retention. But more importantly, in the longer term, is to influence risk, right? The core work of an insurer is to measure and or assume, measure, and control risk. So if you don't have this customer engagement, it's very difficult. And two, these healthcare journeys are really in need of integration, and that can only happen if you have a third part. It could be, you can imagine that insurance can step in and try to do it on their own, but it's very, very challenging role, because it requires a strong tech background to be able to do this, right? So it's where a platform can help play this role of integration, and it's already in motion, right? So, and actually, there's been a very good paper from Roland Berger published a few weeks ago around this topic. I really encourage everyone to read it. But the integrations that we're gonna see more and more impacting the insurance through the platform could be on different dimensions, right? It could be more vertical integration around one disease, one population, and to really serve those diabetes population, or I know those sports savvy people, and then also horizontally, right? You've seen, from a hospital, pharmacy, checkup, insurance product, really across this, whatever the population, and then also more mixed model, and it's where I think where we play an active role is to provide the underlying technology and connecting the different stakeholders, so that as an insurance company, I can play my role in this ecosystem. I can start to be much more relevant to different population for different channels that I want to service. And so I think that's the future of insurance, right? At the end, it's going to be better experience for customers, more relevant services and integrated services. And from the insurance side, is obviously more value for them in terms of creating compelling products and more efficiencies.
Well, I mean, first of all, thanks for the shout out on the study that we did on the future of healthcare and healthcare platforms. And I can only I can only agree. I encourage everyone to get a copy, which is available for free, and to read it. One of the core findings that we had, and you've basically outlined that, is that there will be space for a number of ecosystems and for a number of platforms, and but obviously that means you still need integration. You still need the ones that combine the two. The flip side of that coin, in terms of the future of insurance, is that insurance is also getting more and more embedded into the surrounding ecosystems, right? It becomes less and less a product that you actually purchase standalone, because that's the flip side of the integration. It becomes a product that becomes embedded into things that you do. It may become embedded into a work contract, or it may become embedded into a gym membership that you have. So certain riders on your insurance policy become embedded into other products that you purchase and buy, which in a way is a bit dangerous for insurance companies, because the more they become integrated, the less they become relevant as the customer touch point, and hence the less engagement they will have, and they start missing out on all of these data points. And so I guess it's a good thing to have someone on the side of the insurance companies to provide that kind of operating system, as you say, that keeps a relevance and at the same time allows that deeper embedment to happen, because that's quite a switch for a lot of insurance companies to make mentally around where their future is.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's critical. I see, ultimately insurers, even reinsurers, merging a bit their way of functioning at the end, right? They're going to be much more on their core, which is about assets management, risk management, but then having a strong ability to partner and have partner in terms of ecosystem, in terms of distribution, finding ways to do things and not necessarily be the one concretely doing things, and relying on certain. And it's where you were starting to touch about the distribution. We definitely see, and COVID has been a strong catalyzer on that existing businesses who are not doing at all health or even insurance, but really realize that they are legit to come and help their customers around health and around insurance. But obviously they can't do it neither, right? They don't have you can't start to be a health insurer overnight and bring health services to your customers. So I think that's very exciting time, and we've worked now with we partnered with like nearly 50 what we call smart channels, existing gym chain, for instance, or technology provider for kindergarten, helping parents and kids and the kindergarten for the development of the kids, or payment solution for merchants, or HR solution for SMEs. Those businesses have shown appetite for us to power them with the insurers backing us and create products and services that are relevant for their customers. That's a totally new way of doing. And actually, you match, in this case, distribution and customer experience.
Yeah, it's exciting to see the kind of possibilities that emanate from creating that. Obviously, there's insurance companies that will have to think a little bit about what their future is, and in a way, you've perfectly teed up the segue into my next question. And by the way, just as a reminder to everyone on the call, please feel free to send in your questions, your comments, either through the Q&A box or the chat box, and we're happy to pick up on them. But I would like to now take a few minutes towards the end to talk a little bit more about the Middle East, because I think the Middle East is a bit behind the curve, if I'm totally honest, and no offense to our Middle Eastern friends from the insurance industry on the call. Just simply because, first of all, the structure of a lot of the insurance markets, there's a lot of companies, insurance companies, just in terms of numbers, a lot of smaller players, which then obviously creates a lot of price pressure. Traditionally, there has been quite a substantial role for reinsurers to play across various lines, including health. And so there's a multitude of issues that insurance companies need to overcome, be that scale issues, be that issues in terms of having really the depth of knowledge and capabilities to price all the different kinds of risks that they're engaging in. We have just in general the issue that density and penetration in insurance is comparably low. Not so much in health insurance because that's becoming more and more mandatory, but across most lines of business, it's quite low. So in essence, if I mirror that back to some of your initial comments around where you started in China and the solutions that you found, it does sound a little bit like we are in a similar position now, where this whole integration is only starting now, and it's starting top down by the governments providing or taking the according initiatives to create more, availability of data, to centralize data, to define standards, and all these things. So I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about, your perspectives on the Middle East with this kind of high level frame that I gave you, and to look a little bit about what would you recommend, or what would you think would be a good way forward for insurance companies, considering your experience and considering everything that we've discussed, in order to tackle these new opportunities that now are also available because of all the fundamental changes that COVID has accelerated in the past 9 months, but that obviously have underlying trends that were there beforehand.
No, yeah, I think I would love really to dig into further. What comes to my mind first when you say, there are many insurers and they are not that big and so on. What is good about technology is that it's enabling players actually to quickly access capabilities, right? If you partner with technology providers or technology, insurtech, they can help you even if you're a small insurer to do things differently. And usually smaller insurers are more agile and can try things. Sometimes, the big insurers, they are willing to build these things themselves, and they do it, and it takes them like 1, 2, 3 years, and they fail, and then they start to realize that they have to work with smaller. But smaller insurers are usually actually the agile one, and it's just most of the time we started with smaller ones, and then obviously you need to figure a way to work with big ones, and then step by step you can get big ones also working with insurtech. But I think that's usually a positive thing. You mentioned also reinsurers. Reinsurers can also be definitely a catalyzer. We work with a number of reinsurers in mainland China, in South Asia, also now in Europe. We are preparing some collaboration. The reinsurers can come and help to package new product, bring the service provider that goes with this new product, and to speed up the adoption in the market. And usually it depends on the reinsurers, but some reinsurers are quite moving well. They can play a kind of caution, right? A kind of endorsement, and help you as an insurer to see a valuable solution to help you do your business. But then I think it comes to 3 key questions, right? One is what are your top key pain points in your business? What are your key business goals that you want to achieve? And then try to pick up what are the different strategies and tactics you can activate. So, key pain point, is it about, you feel that your customer engagement is really an issue? Is it you feel that your insurance products are not differentiated? Do you feel that you are too much depending on the offline channel? Or you think that you want to have this capability of integration with a different service provider and or in the ecosystem, but you don't have it, right? So looking at this and which one you want to tackle maybe first, or with the first two. Business goal, and this is very true in this part of the world, right? Some insurers are, especially in China, are very driven by getting more premium, right? The market is booming, so they want to find a way to be the one capturing as possible of this premium. But when we are in markets like Hong Kong or more advanced, more mature markets in terms of health insurance penetration, usually it's about improving the customer experience and the satisfaction, or it could be about even driving efficiencies. So that's those three different business goals, and sometimes you may have the three, but it's where do you rank them? Which one is the most important? And so from there, you can start to derive different approach, and it could be, okay, let's launch a first brand new health product where I go after untapped population. So I'm going to try to own a space, right? To own a space and differentiate from the other players. And here I can adopt a turnkey solution, right? You have InsurTech like us, but others who may be a good partner to do this, right? Turnkey solution, you partner with them, with us, and it helps you to do already this first move and do things very differently for a specific population. Or another approach would be to say, if it's a distribution that you feel as an issue, you can map the different channel that exists in your market by different segment of population and look at those channels and which one are the most relevant, which one do you think that you would maybe have resource to activate. You may have, I'm sure that there are some large groups with multiple type of businesses. So looking at this could be interesting, and then say prioritize 2 to 3 and create a value proposition for those channels and insurance product that go with. And third would be more like I think a bolder move, right? If you want to improve your customer experience in general, is how you can do it gradually, how you can start by some of your existing policyholder and try to adopt new ways of servicing your customers, right? And maybe having a more adopting kind of infrastructure that's gonna change the way you are operating and servicing your customers and connecting the different dots. So this is, again, it's either you build and you ask a big system integrator to do it, or you also buy and you work with InsurTech that can bring you this. And at least you can start to see how it works and see the value and step by step expand this across your portfolio. So that's what I would suggest as a.
I fully and wholeheartedly agree with the solution space that you kind of outlining. I feel that one thing that technology is doing, it's fostering in a way more specialization, right? So you've got players who specialize in integrating ecosystem, who create those layers that combine the operating system, if you want to call it like that. You will very likely have probably players that specialize more in pricing certain types of risks that they understand like no one else, and therefore become a preferred partner, right? And because you have those operating systems, you don't need to have all the lines of business just so that you can give your client a health insurance and a motor insurance and a home insurance, even though you're not really interested in the home or in the motor part. You just have to do it because the customer expects it. So I entirely agree that there's a big play to be had around partnering, around building joint propositions, and around figuring out how 2 + 2 becomes more than 4, but it generates an intangible value for the customer that goes just way beyond the sum of the parts. So yeah, I completely agree. I see Susie appearing on the screen.
All of a sudden I'm back. I'm just going to reach out as well to the audience to see if there are any questions. I've really enjoyed this, Sebastian. Thank you. It's been fantastic. I mean, I've seen how far you've gone in Asia and what you've done, and it's remarkable on all the services you deliver. So I don't know if there's anyone that says here. I know there's some people that have reached out, but instead of saying where they're from, we've got David as well, who is based in Australia and France. So I don't know if there's anybody that has any questions, but this has been extremely insightful. And if we don't have time for them now, or if you're in a rush, please feel free to reach out to us, and I'll be happy to get them answered by either Sebastian or Andreas. But I really
or by both, in the spirit of partnering.
Yeah, by both, exactly, in the spirit of partnering. I think this has been a great eye opener for the Middle East. So it's been for us, like you said, it's been a very crazy year, and there's been a lot of things that come out. And even though it's been, as you said, a catalyst, it's been something that's pushed it. But it's something that's even for us in the financial services, all these things, it just pushed it over. But it has done that extra step in this last year. So there are bad things and there's some good things. But yes, that was extremely fascinating, and I want to thank you both for being a part of today. to being part of FinTalks. Sebastian, I know it's nighttime for you, so good night and have a great evening. And as well for you, Andreas, have a lovely day, the rest of the day in Bahrain. And I look forward to seeing you hopefully in Bahrain one day, Sebastian, and join us over here.
You should definitely come. We'll treat you to some true and proper Bahraini hospitality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Look forward to it.
Got one message as well. Okay, thanks. So thanks, David, as well. David's cues to follow. Okay, I guess we're getting some emails then. Thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, but anyone to send questions.